Perfect. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to, no, that's not the view I want. Welcome to Adjunct Learning Night Fall 2021. We're getting ready to rock and roll. We're going to have this also on Saturday. So if there's anything missed, or you have other colleagues who want to come to this live session, it'll be the same thing that we have Saturday. But this will also get sent out, and there'll be surveys. So tonight we will go with, I'll kind of give you the schedule of what we got going on. So again, welcome. Our schedule is, we will have, scheduled for the evening, we'll have the introductions. Again, myself is Tom. My name is Tom Largent, an adjunct administrator, and we'll have the dean's welcome. I think I saw Dean Ruttkofsky on, so she'll give your welcome message for the fall. And then we have student services, the library, Center for Student Success, and TRIO, and then kind of a wrap up with any question. So with some housekeeping items that we'd have going on is, if you have any questions, please answer them in the chat, or raise your hand as we work our way through, and we will kind of work from there. So without further ado, I'm going to start with our Dean's welcome. So Heather, you got the floor.
Hello. So I will be the dean tonight, and Dr. Butler will be there on Saturday. So I just wanted to start out, I know you guys are used to hearing everybody give you huge kudos, say how great you are. But I think you already know that. So I'm not necessarily going to spend a great amount of time telling you how great you are. I put in the message, Jackson College Elite is here, because I feel that there's so many more of you that support our students than there are us as full-time faculty here. I personally know I couldn't run these courses, my program, without adjuncts. They are truly the backbone. I've been at Jackson College a long time. So thank you. And I know you know how great you are. So if you want to put in the chat and just describe how great you are, I would be loving to see that. So I've already seen some of you guys in here. I don't know a lot of you, so I would love to just, if you put in the chat a little bit about yourself, maybe what you teach. I know it's going to blow it up. I would love to know why you're here, what's kind of on your mind about, maybe what's been happening. I honestly don't mind if you put in there a few things that might be frustrating to you. And I'll do my best as I'm done talking to maybe answer some of those questions or do some of those things. But today at Faculty Days, we made some announcements. I see that we have some of those same announcements that are going to be brought forth. But mainly what we wanted to do is just talk a little bit about some of the very rapid changes that are happening. Again, I've been here a long time, and I don't think I've seen Jackson College move as fast as we've been moving in the past year and a half. Everything changes so fast. And I know that it can be difficult to stay up with all the quick and rapid news and emails. Tom is amazing getting things out to you guys so you know what's happening. But really what we spent a little bit of time talking about is we had some big changes in our bookstore. Some of you, if you were there today, may have picked up on some of that. We have decided, just through history, past practices, some of the services that we've offered our students, that we really like to keep things Jackson College. So we've transitioned our dining into Jackson College now. It's all Jackson College employees. It's ran by Jackson College, and now we're flipping that in about midsummer. I'm not sure if any of you felt some of the impact that we had working with Follett and some of those challenges we faced. So we made another really important decision to bring Jackson College, our bookstore, it's called Jet Store, I believe now. And so we will be having books in-house, meaning that it's ran by Jackson College, but we are also going through a digital company called BibliU. And Heather Woolett's here, so if there's some major questions about that, I'd love for her to jump in. I don't want to, misspeak on that and any details for that. But what we've decided to do is source everything Jackson College. We're working with BibliU and Ambassador. So we had some sessions on that today. I see Heather nodding in approval that I'm so far correct. So yes, I'm sure, I know some of you guys have been feeling some of this frustration between your students and are we getting textbooks? I can assure you that right now it is really a little bit bumpy. So we are really asking for grace from everyone. And I'm not sure if Heather can share out the link that we've been asking for feedback on that. Any questions that you have, maybe Heather can dump that in there. But what we know and what we can promise you is after we get past this bump and this transition that we're in, it's going to be much smoother, much more consistent, more reliable, because we are all Jackson College now. And so the bookstore, I think we'd rather call it Jet Store, is one of the main things that we kind of talked about in our session today with all the rest of the faculty is just looking at that, giving a little bit of grace and getting some of that feedback directly to us. And then we will all look at that and try to make sure that we're meeting everybody's needs. Another hot pressing topic, I'm not sure if any of you have questions for me on this, but reintegration back to Jackson College, what does that look like? Some of you may have worked with me on individual plans over the past year to bring courses back on campus. But what we've moved to is building plans now. Instead of individual classes, we've brought back and created building plans. I felt it was important that faculty showed up to teach their class and not have to worry about whether the students in their seats were safe to be there. We want you to trust that they're safe to be there. So we've put the work back on us, our security, our check-in. Students are required to take coming back to campus integration modules that are on JetNet. That message has been delivered to your students in multiple modes of communication and ways to access those courses and get those modules done, or the course. If any adjunct returning to Jackson College has not been through those modules yet, we would ask that you take those and complete those modules before coming into your classroom. I can go ahead and put the link in the chat box when I'm done here to those building plans, so you can look through those. I could go ahead, if you all prefer to go ahead and look at them right now and maybe pause for a minute so you can ask some questions. Would that be favorable right now, Tom, for them to see those? Heather's also put in the chat box the form to any feedback that you have about BibliU or the bookstore and process and procedures.
Heather, that would be fine.
Okay, all right, I will go ahead and do that. While I'm pulling these up, if you guys want to just, if you have right now any questions from just what I've talked about, go ahead and put those in there.
So can I add on here too, Heather?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I want to make sure that you guys also are aware that during the meeting today with the BibliU reps that were on campus and the full-time faculty with all the leads, they had some great discussion. There was a lot of things talked about with the access and getting it into the JetNet courses and the students getting access. So some questions that you might have are being worked through the lead faculty right now. So, you can always reach out to your lead faculty and say, hey, where are we at on this too? So just know that they had a lot of questions. There was a lot of discussion. And even after, I know there was still a lot of discussion going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, here we go. It finally loaded. I didn't want you guys to have to sit and watch that spin. Okay, so this is an example of one of the building plans that we have. These plans are available on the COVID-19 website. You'll find a link to them. And the reason why we've not printed these or, and I have distributed attachments of these, but because things are changing so fast, we really wanted to be able to jump right in here. I can make a change and it's live immediately for you. So you don't have to keep trying to chase the latest copy. So that's why we've not distributed these as, something that you would print. You're welcome to, but just know that they can change and that you'd find them on the COVID-19 website for any of those changes. But the building plans are designed to just give you a manual to refer to, so you can see from each building where we're gathering the guidelines, the recommendations that guide what we do. The three main policies I felt that were important, that are pertinent to a building plan, are listed here. There are some that are not going to be in the building plan because they're more institutional procedures, such as if you are unvaccinated, you need to have weekly tests before you can come into your classroom. That's not in here because, like I said, that's an institutional procedure versus a building plan safety procedure. So I've had some questions, so I just wanted to clear that up on, you know, where to find that. It won't be in this manual here. And then just so you know who to contact if you're in the building and you need something goes wrong, your classroom checklist. If you're an adjunct that is leading the course and you know, you're not relying on your faculty to check your room, to fill your room, you know, whatever space you're using. This is just that checklist to say, what do I need and what should I be considering? If there's something that you need to order, the link is listed right here. That way you have quick access to it. Again, that's why I would recommend trying to keep these electronic versus printing them. Each activity has been divided into what happens in the classroom. So the classroom activities, and this goes for if you're teaching at Hillsdale or Lenawee as well, we've kind of separated out, and these plans have been designed from past practices. So it's really the faculty that did this, not myself. I just put it together in this nice format, but we have classroom activities such as learning studios. I call them learning studios. That's where we would be giving our lectures, our lessons. There's really no contact between individuals in these spaces. So here's where you would have facial coverings. You can see the capacity. And why this is important is a lot of professors, instructors, they may say, you know, I really want to go over into HLC 104, but I'm running skills demonstrations. And you can see that in 104, it's not designed for you to be running skills demonstrations, because in those spaces, it's direct person-to-person contact. And that changes a little bit of the protective equipment that we would ask that you use. So you really want to make sure that what you're doing matches the space that you're in. We did open up the student lounge in HLC. So if any of you are in there, you can see that we've limited the capacity to 6. And as soon as your student is done using it, we ask that they leave. But we do recognize that students need a space to go to as well. So I feel that it's safe for students to be in these spaces, just as they are in their classroom. So we have made that available to them. Now, if you are in a space where you want to do something different, I had, for example, our EMS crew this year wanted to take their skills and out into the hallway, and they wanted to use all the spaces to run scenarios of trauma. We need to know this, so that would be a separate integration plan beyond the building plan. And why do we need to know this? It's really for facilities and cleaning purposes. We just need to know what space needs to be cleaned and when it needs to be cleaned. So this gives us that information by that individual request. And then of course there could be situations where we say, you know, no, you cannot bring in extra public for blood draws because we don't have things and safety procedures in place for that. I can tell you so far we've not denied that kind of a request, but that would give you an example. So each plan is designed to show the classroom activities and non-classroom activities. So these would be those breakout bubbles that you see throughout the buildings. Those are have to be scheduled, and they're limited to 1. Some of the places we have what we call a tweener room. And you can see where I've said students can't be in there. This is faculty use only. So this just, again, these are designed so that you have one spot to go to. You can see what's approved, what's not approved. And then food and drink. Again, this is something that's probably already changing, because we know that historically we didn't want food and drinks, especially in our lab spaces. We have equipment, we don't want things spilled, we don't want things on it, right? But now with, you know, students maybe not wanting to dine in the dining hall, we are letting them be in their classroom. but we just would like to keep it limited to, you know, not a full out meal. I've come in and I've seen students spread out their full out meal. But if that's the case, let's refer them to perhaps the student lounge or some other larger space than the classroom. We ask that the students limit what they bring in, you know, and it's not because it's not because we're concerned necessarily that things coming in are contaminated, although there is that, you know, possibility, we know still maybe, but it's very, very low. You know, surfaces are really not the spot where COVID appears to be the highest transmission, but it's space. It's really about space, because we are trying to avoid people from being crammed in together as much as possible, especially if you're in one of the learning studios where we've made it to where you have to be apart. We don't want to overcrowd. These also contain your infection control procedures. So what are you going to be doing? What are your students going to be doing? We ask that a lot of the instructors and students help with the high touch points. And this is not because our cleaning crew can't do it. It's just that with as many sections we have on campus now, and if we know that the students and the instructors are conscious about their own space, that just, again, that's just another layer of helping to get, you know, that kind of cleaning done. Our cleaning team comes in and they fog in certain places, but certain places they do not fog. For example, in the sonography lab, we cannot have fogging because our equipment would not sustain that type of cleaning. So you may notice in your space, fogging is occurring. So those are just the points that you really should consider. And then each building plan has building maps. That way they can, you know, your students and yourself can see, you know, where are all these spaces at and where can people go. All of the buildings have these, and just, I guess, more or less not for fun, but those that were helping me on these pointed out that every building has its own coded color. So you may come across every font is different, and that seems little, but again, it was important to some of the crew that was helping me that the buildings kept with their colors. So some of them have their own, we all have our own colors. So I think that's really it that I have for the building plans. Again, we just ask that you trust that we are really working to make everything. This was my, this was something that I really felt was important, that we make things accessible for everyone, but easy for our instructors to come to campus and just come in and teach and assess and build those relationships with the students, and not police whether students are taking the integration course. You know, I mean, of course, that's not to say that we don't want you to say, hey, everybody in here, you realize that you had to take these training course or the modules before you got here. If you didn't do it, make sure you do it. But we're not asking that you police it. We're just asking that you help send the message. They have their own messages in Jetstream, the website, emails. So I think our students are pretty confident that they know what they need to do to be here. If you haven't been on campus yet, it's crazy coming in because the cones and the way it's guiding you around. I came in this morning and actually got caught in between cones because it had gotten changed. And I was sitting there stuck in the middle of my own parking lot that I had just been in. And of course, security did watch for a little bit and did finally pull up beside me and laughed quite a lot and said, are you lost? I said, I'm stuck. Where do I go? So just kind of follow the crew for a minute, but it does change a little bit. And that's because what we see is some people don't necessarily go through our check-in. And that's important that you do, because we want to know that everybody has everything they need to be on campus and they're safe. You may also find some of us with badges that have green bars across the bottom, green stripes, and that was choice if we wanted those badges to let everyone know that we are vaccinated. So just to maybe cover that a little bit, what we ask is that if you are not vaccinated, it is your choice to have that badge or not. But if you don't have the badge, even if you are vaccinated and you don't have that badge, we're going to treat you as if you are not vaccinated. And everyone will just wear a mask, and then we will be respectful of that and keep everybody safe. Now, if everyone in our meeting area is vaccinated, then we would ensure that everyone's comfortable with everyone removing those masks. And then that's when our masks can be removed. Students and faculty in the classrooms are wearing masks. So if you have a student that does not have a mask on, even if they said they're vaccinated, we would just kindly ask them to place the mask back on, you know, because this is our policy that we all wear masks in the classroom. And if we're in common areas such as passing in the hallways, but if you're in a space by yourself, you're outside, or you're in, you know, a space where everyone's vaccinated, then you can remove those masks. I'm just going to pause for a second. Does anybody have any questions right now? Anybody? I see some in the chat. I see
Actually,
that.
Heather, if I could, this is Becky Roberts. Hey, if we or if any instructor would have a student that is, you know, being, you know, rather strong-headed, that they do not want to wear a mask, they don't have to, how should instructors handle that situation?
Okay, that's a good question. It was one that came up today too. So again, if you've kindly asked and they have refused, then, you know, we would just ask that you contact security. We don't want any unnecessary, you know, confrontation in the classroom, but we would just ask that you contact security, and security will definitely step in and work with the student and see if we can't get them to, you know, understand that they need to comply with our policies to be there.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. I have somebody that asked, do we need to get a new badge if we are vaccinated? That is your choice to get that. We've been working with security and vaccinated individuals. If you should become exposed, we are asking, of course, that you get a test. But if you're vaccinated and you test negative, then we have been working under the guidelines of being out for 5 days. If you're not vaccinated, it's 2 weeks. So it's slightly different because we recognize that vaccinated individuals that are negative, that are, you know, asymptomatic, even though you've been around it. And we ask the 5 days because we also know that it takes, you know, up to 5 days for most people to show symptoms. And not only that, some of our rapid tests and even our PCR tests, if, you know, if it's before 5 days of exposure, a lot of those are some false negatives. So that's why we've asked, you know, about 5 days out. So any other questions on that? Our announcements this morning really went pretty quickly, so I don't want you to think I'm leaving anything out by jumping off of here and letting my other colleagues here jump in and give their announcements. It's pretty much identical. I'll dump in the chat box also the link to the building plan so you have those. And just remember that they can change. So if you keep the link, you should be good to go. Every time you look at it, it should be current as the minute it is. Good. Okay, and I'm gonna take the awkward silence here as no one has any other further questions, but I'm gonna be right here. So you're free to send me something in the chat if you need.
Thank you, Heather. As I don't know what's going on right now. My Zoom is being a little weird, so hopefully we are good. Okay, so we're going to move into student services right now. So I'm going to share that presentation as we have working forward. So let me get that pulled up. My Zoom decided to just not react, so which is okay. Okay, so we are. All right, we have student services, and Zach McNitt and Monica Bouman will be conducting this. So I'm gonna let them go. So I'm gonna move on to the next slide. And Zach, you can start.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Heather. My name is Zach McNitt. I'm the registrar at Jackson. So I work within student services. There's a lot that I can do and that I can help you with. So anything that is kind of registration related, in regards to, you know, your class roster being accurate, submitting grades, trying to drop a student, withdraw a student, kind of anything around those parameters are definitely something that I can help you with. But what I am going to be talking to you about today is attendance reporting. And this is a little different than kind of your everyday attendance, you know, who's in your seats and who's not. This is kind of more on a larger scale. So Tom will get into more of that day-to-day reporting, but what I want to talk to you today about why your role as an adjunct is so important. We have to maintain accurate rosters to ensure that only eligible students get financial aid. Okay, so about 80% of our population uses some form of financial aid. And with that, if they're not attending your class or they're not attending the institution, we are federally obligated to report that, so that aid does not stick to the student's account, or that we have to give a certain percentage of financial aid back. And we rely on you as the faculty member to do that. This same presentation I'm giving to you is the same presentation I give to our full-timers. So, I mean, it's uniform across the board. So as you can see in the slide here, Tom provides an example of logging into kind of our final grade queue. And you can see that in the final grade column where you would go to enter your final grades for the term, you'll also see that there's two tabs. One is a never attended tab and one is a last date of attendance. So I'm going to talk to you first about the never attended tab, and then we'll move to the last date of attendance. Every one of your classes, regardless of when it starts, whether you start on the first day or you have a late start class, it doesn't matter, has what's called a census date. Okay, that census date is on our website, but it'll also be sent to you by the dean's office. So if you're wondering, oh my God, what's my census date? You're going to get it, so don't worry about it. What that census date is it's a trigger date. Once that date passes in your class, bills and schedules lock in. That's when all of our charges hit student accounts. It's also when student aid hits their accounts. So loans, Pell Grants, all those things. So what we want you to do, or want you to try to do, if you have a 15-week course, your census date is normally on day 10 of your course. If you're running a 7-week course, it's normally day 4 or 5. And then 12, I think, if you're running a 12-week class, it's around 7 days. So what we want you to do that first day of your class, or the first week, any day before that census period, we want you to try to do some type of activity, a message board or introduction or something that makes your students engage. And we want your students to interact with you or their peers, something within that first 4 to 5 day window of your course. And the reason we want you to do this is that so you can verify that the student is attending or that they're participating. So if you're face-to-face class, it's very easy to tell you because they're either sitting there with you or they're not. Online classes, we want some type of activity, like I said, to show that that student is engaged and participating. If that student does not engage or does not attend your course within the census period, so if you're running a first 7-week class and you're at day 4 and your census day is day 5 and you have not heard anything from your student, we want you to go in and click that never attended box. What that'll happen is it's going to send a notification to my office to have that student removed from your course. What this will ensure is that the bill does not get charged to the student, but also that aid does not hit the student account. Because once that census date passed, all of it goes. And it's not easy to pull back if you try to drop them after the fact. So what I always tell faculty, and what I'll tell you as adjuncts, if you're unsure, but you feel like, gosh, this person hasn't attended, but maybe they sent me an email 2 weeks before the class, but now I haven't seen them. I want you to drop your student before the census date if they are not participating or not attending. The reason why, it is a lot easier to put them back in after your census date. Okay, we have a process in place to do that, than it is for you to let the census date pass and then try to backdate them to drop them before the census date. Because then we have to rebill, we have to send aid back to the government or to loan providers, and that gets messy, and we don't want to do that. Okay, so that's kind of what the never attended option is. So the never attended option should only be used during the census period. Once your census date is passed, we no longer want you to use the never attended field. Okay. Now, some of you may go, well, you know, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. It's the day after the census date, and then you mark them as never attended. That happens. If you do it, you're not going to break anything. My team will pull it and fix it. But ideally, what we want you to do is make sure you're verifying your rosters the day of your census date so that you can get the most current roster submitted so that we can drop who should not be in your class. Okay. So that's kind of what the never attended option is. I'm going to do the last date of attendance portion now, and then I'll take your questions at the end because a lot of them are going to be the same. So once your census date passes and now your roster is locked in, bills are locked in, financial aid has hit accounts, you're off and running. All of a sudden, you know, we all know life happens, or sometimes along the way, you know, we lose people, students fall off, you know, there any number of reasons. If a student stops attending, and a lot of questions I get during these, well, what do I determine as when a student stops attending? There's not a clear, perfect definition for that. Most instructors clarify it within their syllabus of what will constitute a drop. Some departments will provide that guidance to you. So if you're unsure on that, make sure you reach out to your lead or one of your full-timers to get that information. So again, if a student stops attending your course, you're like, you know, it's been a week, or the student has missed 4 or 5 face-to-face sessions, I'm after the census date. What we want you to do, we want you to log in, and remember, since your census date is passed, you're not hitting never attended. You're going to enter the last date that the student was sitting in your class, or if it's an online class, the last date that the student was actively participating in your class. Okay. And we want you to enter it there. Once you enter it, it automatically comes down and gets pulled by my team. We will then go drop that student from your course, and the student will be assigned a withdrawal or a W to their transcript. Okay. Now, we would like you to try to be as timely as possible when submitting a last date of attendance. So what I mean by that is, if you're going to submit a last date of attendance, it should be within the last 2 weeks of when you're reporting it. So what I don't want you to do is have it be October 15th and you submit a last date of attendance as September 7th. That causes a big problem because we have to drop the student off of the date that you guys submit. And if it's way too big of a gap, there is a chance that we will have to try to return some type of loan money or aid money. So the rule we tell you is 2 weeks from the day that you're reporting, 2 weeks back, if a student stops, that's where your last date of attendance feature should be dropped. Okay. Now you will receive another email from the dean's office that tells you your last day to drop a student. Okay. So when you get into kind of that last week, last 2 weeks of your class, depending on how long your class is, that, you know, that date is triggered, all of your classes have what's called a last day of withdrawal. That's the last day you can remove anyone from your class. After that point, you're going to submit a final grade for every person in your class. Now, again, that date is sent to you. So if you're in, you know, the second to last day of your course and the last day to withdraw was 6 or 7 days sooner, that's not the time to be making your never attended field before the census date and the last date of attendance after the census date, so that we can ensure that we have accurate reporting. Because some of the worst things we can get is that last week of the class when a student's, you know, we've billed them, we've sent all their aid, we reported them to the National Student Clearinghouse that they've been attending, and then the last week of the class you go, oh, oops, they actually never attended, they should have been dropped 8 weeks ago. That puts us at subject for financial aid penalty. It also raises flags for us to be audited. So we really will put lost you all for a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
Zach,
I
can
think
hear
you
you now.
froze on everybody. We're all kind of,
Gotcha.
wait a minute,
Okay.
what's going on? So
Gotcha. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to share, you'll see that the two tabs, the last date of attendance and the final grade tab, are right next to each other. When you go to enter your final grades, you should never enter a last date of attendance with it. It always happens that we'll have a faculty member that'll put the last day of the course in and then put all their final grades. And what that does is it drops the entire class when they're submitting their final grades. So don't do that. If you're going to enter a final grade, the never attended and the last date of attendance options should always be blank. Okay, so that would be my last friendly reminder. So I know that I threw a lot at you there, and I know it seems like a lot. I promise it's not. If you're tracking your class, you know, weekly or daily, whether you're face-to-face or online, it really kind of takes care of itself. And again, if there's any type of questions, or if you have a concern or you have a scenario that you're not sure where it fits, just please reach out to Tom, reach out to me, and we'll be happy to assist. Okay, so with that, I will take any questions that anybody might have. I see one in the chat. Let me see what that says.
Zach, can you kind of describe for our CEP instructors what they're going to be looking at as in attendance wise?
I can do my best. So CEP is obviously kind of a different animal, and it's even more of a different animal now because of the COVID restrictions that we have to work through. So, I mean, ideally, prior to COVID, we could go in and students were on call outs and we knew who was in front of us and knew who was not. And we are working frantically to get back to that point, and there'll be more information coming out that they looks like we're going to be able to get back in some capacity, which is awesome. What that capacity is, we will wait and see in September, but we are frantically trying to get that information for you guys. So what we're doing right now is, you know, we're sending assignments in packets, and students are completing them and they're sending them out, and our teams are picking them up and getting them back to you, which I know is not always ideal, but it's what we got to do. We're making the best of an unfortunate situation. What I would encourage you to do on that one, if you're sending information in, or if you're not getting information back out, so you're submitting assignments, but when pickups come in and are sent back to you and you're not getting any feedback from that assignment or from that student, you're not getting JPAYs or nothing's coming out to our staff about a student not attending, we would encourage you then at that point to remove them from your course. And CEP faculty or adjuncts can go into this and submit this directly. You do not have to reach out to the CEP team to submit a drop. A lot of CEP instructors think, oh, I have to reach out to Bobby, or I have to reach out to one of the navigators that facilitate the correctional facilities. That is not the case. You can log in and do this and control your roster directly, and you'll submit those drops directly to my team. And I would prefer that you do that so we don't miss anybody or no one slips through the cracks. So there's going to be more information to come for CEP. Heather, you're absolutely correct. Once that information is finalized, we will work to get that out to you. But yes, CEP is definitely kind of a different animal because of how we have to do our drop-offs and pickups for assignments. And I thought I saw another question in here about drop versus fail. Let me see. Okay, so for the fail versus drop, again, what I would say for that, if a student is in your class past your last date of withdrawal, it is the exception that you issue, or it is the expectation that you issue them a final grade. Okay, sometimes you hear the verbiage, students have a right to fail. You know, they fight to the very end and they just can't get there. And you know, failure might be what they earn. That does happen sometimes. Now, if you're up to that last date of withdrawal and the student's kind of tailed off and not really participating anymore, maybe giving up, it would be best to submit that drop so we can post a W to their account, so that it doesn't kind of penalize them in their GPA. So again, that's a discretion that you all are going to have to use. There's not a clear answer for that. I would just encourage you to look at the situation objectively and see when a student was participating, stopped participating, and where we're at in the semester.
Can I help you out for a second, Zach?
Go for it.
Vicki posted a question in here about correspondence and dropping on the census date with the JPay. You should have in your syllabus for them in that course pack that the students receive before the semester starts. And in there, it states that you will be contacting them weekly through JPay, and that they need to respond back to you, and that is how you are doing it weekly, even if we are still able to go inside. And remember, not every class is going in once a week. Some of the classes are only going in every other week.
Correct.
So you're still using JPay as the main communication to talk to your students on the inside. So in your syllabus, you need to make sure it's stated that JPay is how you are doing your attendance, and that they need to be responding back to you every week.
And then I saw Tom's response. Tom is correct. If you can drop up until the end of the business day on those census dates. If it's before, that's absolutely okay. But you have up until the day of your census to do that. And Heather, thank you. 100% correct on the CEP piece. JPay is tough because, you know, sometimes they come right through extremely quickly. Other times, absolutely, there's a 2-day delay, a 2-week delay. It depends on the facility and how many are coming out. Just follow your processes you're supposed to. If it is delayed because of the JPay system, again, we have processes in our office that can fix that. But ideally, again, you know, we try to follow the dates the best that we can, but realize there's going to be exceptions to every rule, and we will adjust accordingly. Any other questions on this stuff?
Seeing none, I will move on to attendance.
Okay, thank you, Tom, and thank you, everybody. And again, I mean it. If there's anything you guys need from me or any questions, I'm 100% accessible. Call, email, etc. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to me or reach out to Tom, and Tom can get you my information. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, so attendance. So we're moving on. So we're going to continue with the same process that we have been with attendance, where if you're teaching an asynchronous online section, so that means your section says I-1, I-50, I-60, for an example, you will do it via JetNet. But I did want to make the reminder, if you're teaching a face-to-face class or you do have a synchronous session, and there are some of those examples there, whether that face-to-face is a hybrid or a standard, a traditional class, you'll be taking attendance in Jetstream. So you'll be going in there, and the nice thing with taking that attendance in Jetstream with the face-to-face is that gets reported out to the navigators that a student has missed class. So it's a pure report that goes right to them, and they can start outreaching the student along with yourself, because they may have a different way of contacting that student, just because they may know that student really well too. So it's kind of really important for there. So just make sure you're if you're teaching on campus or hybrid or a synchronous online section, so the IS sections, you'll be doing those attendance because those are in Jetstream. But if you're teaching purely an asynchronous online section, you'll be submitting that in the JetNet course. It'll be called Attendance Fall 2021, and I'll get sent out, and you'll be added to that course. And those are required by Thursday of each week. Now you can do those from any day. You can do it on Saturdays, Sundays, you can do it any day of the week when you do it. It's just due by Thursday nights. And there will be reminders sent out, just emails if you have not done it by Thursday. I know as myself, it's kind of a nice sometimes reminder that, oh, I forgot to do that. It's a good little email reminder for myself. You'll list the students of names that are not attending and participating, and please, as we want to kind of work forward to that, is make sure that you're submitting retention alerts for those listed students, so that the navigator knows what's going on too, or so that our staff kind of knows, so we can really track it for when Zach has talked about last day of attendance. We can really use that as good data points for students. So does anybody have any questions about attendance? Okay. Not seeing.
Real quick.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I keep jumping in on you guys.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine, Heather.
So also know that there's usually always 2 attendants. One is for the classes that are central campus online, and then there's the CEP attendance JetNet course. So if you have a CEP class, know that you'll have to, so that might be another thing to keep an eye on.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so without that, not seeing anything, if you do have any further questions, feel free from the chat, but we'll move on and we'll have Monica go. Maybe.
I think, can you hear me, Tom?
I can hear you, Monica.
Okay, good. So I see your lovely picture. I don't see the retention alert slide. Is that on me, or do you think that's
No, I think it might
Okay.
be just the bandwidth for campus right now may be a little low.
All right, I'll introduce myself and then turn my video off, and then I can try sharing my screen if you would like, because I have that slide pulled up. But for those in the room that don't know me, my name is Monica, and I am the Associate Dean for Student Services. So that includes some pretty cool departments in my humble, not so humble opinion. Includes the Center for Student Success, the Testing Lab, all of the navigators that work within Student Services. And then the Center for Student Success in particular also oversees programs like Supplemental Instruction, tutoring, the Writing Center, the Math Lab, etc. And I'll get into a little bit of that later. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video in hopes that I can share my screen and share the slide. Can everyone see that? If I could just get 1 or 2 yeses or a thumbs up.
I can see it, Monica.
Okay, perfect. So with, okay, I see a thumbs up as well, so I'm going to take that as a go. So with Retention Alert, I just want to let you know that Tom, if he hasn't already, he will share this PowerPoint with you, which will include, as you see on this slide, a short video that will speak to exactly how to submit a Retention Alert. So what is Retention Alert? So for those that are new to Retention Alert, it's a system to help the navigators, which are our academic advisors on campus, help connect with those students that need extra help and support. So whether it's a referral to the Center for Student Success, or maybe they have a different avenue to reach the student, etc. So like I said, this is faculty initiated. So the instructions are nicely laid out for you on the screen. As you'll see, it's pretty straightforward. You're just simply logging into your roster, copying the student ID, going into that retention alert link, selecting the retention alert information, and then entering that case. The thing I wanted to point on this evening, though, is as you're submitting these retention alerts in hopes to connect with the student, it's really above and beyond some of maybe those beginning interventions rather that you've already had with the student. So it's important to give those details when you're submitting a retention alert case so that the navigators are well prepared to take that next step. So if you've already tried, say, talking to them after class or sending an email outreach, if you've spoken to them on the phone, those types of details, or specifically what's going on in the class, you know, the student is repeatedly falling asleep or they're not submitting assignments, they're missing every other time. Like details like that really help the navigators know for context to have that conversation with the student that you're submitting the retention alert case for. So that's the first point I wanted to hit on, were those details, right? Try to make it as comprehensive as you can to help the navigator when they are connecting with a student. Secondly, on the other hand, however, in working with faculty over the years, we do experience situations where the navigators sometimes forget to close the loop, or they haven't followed up with the faculty member to say that the case is closed, they've connected with the student, whatever may have happened with the situation, right? So what I need from you as new faculty here at the college is to just circle back and let me know. It's an important step in the retention alert process, and it's really necessary to make it a more fruitful experience for you as well as the faculty. So if you're not getting you know, a follow-up from the navigator on the retention alerts that you're submitting, if you could just let me know, so that way I can do a little bit of investigation and see how we can close the loop on that for you. So I know that was a little abbreviated. Like I said, Tom was nice enough to include the short video that Terry Anderson created and how to submit a retention alert. Does anyone have any questions regarding that process or the purpose of it? All right, going once, going twice. So Tom, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Is Zoom working a little better for you now, or?
Well, it unmuted me, so that's always a good thing. I know that Heather Ruttkofsky had one more thing to add to her message, so before we take a little break, just before Jen Adams starts in.
Thanks, Tom. I just had a little reminder from President Fallon to talk a little bit about the QR codes on our buildings. I can't believe I didn't bring this up. This is really important for contact tracing. So as you approach one of our buildings, you'll notice a QR code right on the door. And that QR code, if you hold your phone up to it, the camera, it will open up or give you the option when a little screen pops up to open up a form where you're just going to enter your name and your phone number. The form's set to each building. So if you're going into Justin Whiting, then when you bring that form up on the QR code, it will automatically assign it to that building. But once you do it once for that day, you don't have to keep doing it. But any building you go into, we ask that you please be conscious about putting that information in. So in case there is a reason why we need to know where you're at, where you went, if we need to contact you. And then also, again, while you're in the buildings, if something should happen and we needed to say, this happened, just keep in mind where you may have been around in that building to just let us know if there's places that we didn't know that you went, or that you might have been close to somebody. So just remember those QR codes on those doors and let us know that you've been there. I think that's about it. I don't think I've forgotten anything else about the details for these safety procedure plans. They keep me up at night because there's so much that I want to make sure that you guys have, so you can come to your class and teach and know that you're safe, your students are safe, and what you're doing is all about the student and learning and teaching. So anybody have any questions about that? No? I like to take the awkward silence as a no. That's when I know I've got everybody's attention and we're good.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Okay, so like I said, we will take a short break because I know we've been going right with this. So let's come back. I'll pause the recording really quick. We'll come back at 7:05 if you do have any questions or anything. But we'll get started right with Jen Adams at 7:05.
Hey, Tom, you're muted.
My video is working, but of course my mute button was not. So hey, let's it's 7:05, so we'll get going to Jen Adams and our wonderful librarian staff in the library over in William Atkinson. So I will turn this over to Jen. I'll get myself muted so I'm not talking over her, and stop my video. So hopefully we don't have issues.
Thank you, Tom. So yeah, I'm Jennifer Adams at the library. I already know a lot of you. Welcome to any new adjuncts. And I am going to turn off my camera in a minute too. Things are freezing a lot for me too. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the library can do for you, and then a little bit about what we can do for your students. So I am going to share my screen. Let's see. Tom, did you give me that privilege to do that?
You should have the privilege to do that as a co-host.
Oh, I do. Okay. Or wait, that is not my screen. I'm seeing someone else's screen right now. I'm seeing yours, Tom, actually. Can you see my PowerPoint? Anybody?
I can't, Jen, for what it's worth. Sorry, I know that's not what you want to hear.
You can't. Okay.
Yeah, I cannot.
Yay, technology.
But we do get to see you, so you know
That's
plus, right?
not what I want to hear. Oh, gosh darn it. Well, I don't know. Oh, can you see that now? Anybody?
Yes.
Thank you.
Jen, I just posted it from mine, so just let me know when you want me to move ahead, okay?
Thank you. I don't know why I can't do this. Okay, so am I able to start this, or do you have to, Tom? I can't figure that out either. Sorry, you guys. This is like a weird.
Do you want me to move down to the next slide?
Yeah, go ahead and start it, Tom. I guess I'm not going to be able to. I don't know what's
I'm
going
just
on.
going to do it from this mode so it doesn't, I know it's not the best mode, but I'm just going to do it from this mode so that we don't have any issues.
That's okay. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Sorry about that. And I know we're short on time here. So yes, the library can help you guys a lot, and adjuncts are pretty much, they make up the majority of library advocates. So you guys rock, and we love you. So the first thing I want to show you is we have a faculty resources guide. Let's see if this will work if I click this. No, of course, wait. Nope. It will not. Okay. Tom, I would like to just get on the library website. I think that'll be the best thing. Okay, now there we go. So yeah, I'm going to stumble through this, everyone. So this is our faculty resources guide. We call this a lib guide. And you can access this for a lot of different things, a lot of different ways you can use the library. But I'm going to just kind of do a couple highlights. First of all, the library instruction tab. Tom, if you want to click on that. So we are very happy to do instruction for you in person or virtually. And you need to just fill out this spiffy little form and we will accommodate you. We can talk about a lot of different things. A lot of times we talk about fact finding and evaluating resources, especially in the age of fake news. So let me also turn off my video, I forgot. So yeah, we do that. We talk about determining what's a peer-reviewed article. We can completely customize our instruction to anything you want. And we know you don't have a lot of time, so we can do anything from 20 minutes to an hour. So that is a thing, and feel free to send us a request. We're happy to accommodate you in person or virtually. And I'm going to hop right over to, I will let you guys check out the rest of the faculty guide. When you do look at the CEP area, we're on pause right now with our CEP research, and I know that's a really big thing for a lot of you because we've done that. But at this moment, we are not doing our standard requests like we used to pre-pandemic, and we may not ever continue like we had been. We're doing kind of a streamlined topic course packet thing at the moment. We're just trying to really figure out how to service our incarcerated students. So that's on pause. I can't tell you much about that. But Canopy is where I would like to go. Okay, Tom, let's go to the library homepage, if you don't mind. Excellent. And if you would scroll down and go to databases underneath the box, if you see the little, yep. This will tell you how to get here anyway. This is good. So this is a list of all of our databases, and we have 121 right now, which is pretty overwhelming for a lot of students. And that's why we use that box on the former page, our discovery tool that throws everything together. So it will search our 121 databases, our more than 300,000 ebooks, a lot of full text, and citation tools are what students love the most. But this is an A to Z list of what we have. And if you look under K for Canopy, not C, K, And Tom, if you would click on Canopy, let's open it for just a sec. So this is a great resource that, look, we have Essential Campus Collection. Awesome. This has received much increased use since the pandemic. And we love this source. And each film, I have to always say this, has a citation tool. So it's very academic. We have the Criterion Collection in here. We have amazing documentaries from a lot of different sources. And this is yours. Please use it. We pay for this and we want you to access it. And you just need your JC login for this. You can stream this right through JetNet or however you want, and we are happy to help you. We're also happy to help you choose some films that fit your curriculum. So this is more of an arts-based streaming video collection. We are looking right now, just so you know, at more STEM-based streaming options, because that's an area where we really need to, we have a gap. We want to fill that. So if you have any suggestions on a vendor or a specific collection that you'd like us to explore, we're super happy to do that. So just let us know that. Let's see. And Tom, can we go back to the library homepage again? Please, you can get there. Okay, actually you're in the perfect spot. If you want to scroll down just a tad to the bubbles. Should I say up? So we're at the bottom of the screen. There you go. Thank you. So we, Ashley actually, Banks, just redesigned our web page fairly recently. We wanted to make it more intuitive for students and get rid of like a lot of the library jargon that we use. And we thought these bubbles would be a good idea to help students find things really quickly. So Tom, if you go to the help bubble, this quickly takes students and you to some areas that are highly used. So let's, for instance, this first one, are you looking for a tutorial? We have tutorials that Jen Fierro, my fantastic librarian, has created. And these are really good tools that you could actually assign your students. If you don't have time for us to attend your class, we create these for you. They're fairly short, and it's just kind of a mini assessment tool for research, for fact finding, for learning how to use the databases. So you can find those tutorials through that link. And we have things that we didn't have before, like the third item down. Are you looking for certain publication? In the past, it was very difficult to get to an entire list of all of our journals that we have available, and now we have a link for students to go directly here to search for a journal by title, things like that. So these little menu items are helpful for students. Let's go to resource guides and tutorials, Tom, on the left menu. So this is just a direct link to some of our highly used digital resources. Tom, let's actually go to the tutorials bubble so I can give you an idea of what we do have available. If you scroll down a bit. Right, so we actually have one really short one that says, what is the library anyway? Because we have students who think we're just a repository for books, and we are not. We have much more than that. And this is a short video that talks about what we do so students know where to go and what we can do. And we also have a tutorial on our discovery search, basic search strategies, and then an advanced version. We have a citation tutorial and the evaluating online resources. Tom, can you scroll down just a tad bit? Actually, let's go to evaluating online resources up there. Yeah, just want to show you this real quick. So this is a, let's say, 15-minute tutorial that talks about students becoming fact finders. We're evaluating things a lot differently than we used to. We're doing more of a vertical evaluation of resources, horizontal, so that when students open a website, they're going to open some different windows to cross-reference to make sure that the information they're finding is accurate. We used to do the whole crop test thing, which I think some of you know, and we're moving away from that. But Jen has created a guide that talks about how to also evaluate social media sources to tell if something is credible or not. We're doing another one that's specific to images and video, because we all know about there are deep fake videos. So anyway, we're hopefully addressing a need by doing these tutorials, and we're really excited about it. If you want to go back to the website, Tom, I had a slide that talked about what we're doing now in the library. So I guess the main things that you need to know, or your students need to know, are that we are open for business, and we have been since the beginning of August. It's not appointment based for us. Students can just walk in, and we have all of the desktops are socially distanced. The computers, every other one is disabled. We've removed a lot of the chairs. We have sanitation supplies. And currently for the breakout rooms, because a lot of students really want to know about that, we're using breakout rooms on both floors. However, the rest of the second floor of WA is completely off limits. So the classrooms, the collection upstairs, that's completely off limits, and we have it blocked off. But we do want students to be able to use the breakout rooms. And right now we're only allowing 1 student per small breakout room and 2 students for the larger ones, and they have to wear masks the whole time. So that's mandatory. We've had a couple issues lately, but they have been remedied really quickly. Students have been pretty good about it. So we do have those available, and we are now checking out laptops again like we used to, and calculators, and we have our textbook reserves. And if you happen to have a textbook you'd like on reserve at the library, please reach out to me. Happy to add that to our collection. The last thing I guess, is our library hours. So they have been reduced quite a bit. So this week we're open from 9 to 5, Monday through Thursday. Yeah, thank you. Right there, see? The website is fantastic. Okay, and right now we're not open on the weekends at all, and we're open from 9 to noon Fridays. So when the semester starts next week, the only thing that will change is that we will be open till 6 instead of 5. So there is that. We just wanted to make you aware of that. And that was me flying through my presentation without exactly knowing what was on it. Anyway, that is all I have. I'm going to see if there are any questions for me in the chat. So I wish the Canopy videos could be burned. You cannot download them, unfortunately. We've been asked that a lot, especially for CEP, yeah. But we are looking into solutions for that. We're looking into a source, maybe an open source that will let you download. So get back to me on that. We are looking at that a lot. I don't know about rentals. Yeah, maybe. Oh, we also have found that Netflix has opened up a lot of their collection to for educational purposes. So you can legally now show Netflix videos, films in your course if it's under an educational license. And I can show you where that is on their website too. But the Canopy videos have no parameters. They can be shown as many times or anything because we have the license for those. But I guess that's all. I know I flew through that, you guys. Just please reach out to me if you need anything. We are here. We're open for business, and we're really excited to see some students come in. So thank you. That is all I have.
Thank you, Jen, for that. And I will share the PowerPoint in the link when all this gets sent out in the email once we get it kind of set, just because of some of the technology issues that we've encountered, of course, with as many of you that are here, which is great. So we're going to get right into, if there's no further questions with that, we're going to get right into the Center for Student Success and Trio with Monica Bouman again. So.
Hello again, everyone. Given the struggles we've had this evening, I think it's safe if I just leave my video off. I have a lovely picture there next to my name if you'd like to look at that, or feel free to come see me in person anytime you'd like. So first I'd like to start off by sharing my screen. And if I could just get 1 or 2 shout outs that you can see it, thumbs down, thumbs up.
See it.
Awesome.
Can see it.
Thanks, Ariel. And I'd also like to mention that I do have some colleagues on the call with me from certain departments. I know Ariel's on the line, and I know I saw Kim McEwen and Pam Fitzgerald, so I'll be highlighting them in a moment. But first, I'd like to start with TRIO. So TRIO is and the reason I'm speaking to this tonight is because some of you will have TRIO students in your classrooms. And so about TRIO. So essentially TRIO does not stand for anything in particular. It is not a true acronym, except that it does, the history behind it is it's 3 federal grants that became 1. So it is a 100% federally funded program. They can serve approximately 150 students a year. And it's not just about, graduating the student with a certificate or degree from Jackson College, but also helping them transfer, if that's their goal, to a 4-year institution, but also ensuring that the student is well-rounded academically and personally, as the website is stating. And so they have an annual budget. Like I said, they serve 150 students a year. There's so many things that they do. I know we're tight on time, so I won't go through every single one of them. They are currently at their 150, so they are serving that. However, I just received news from Melissa Merkel today, who is the TRIO director, that 41 TRIO students are graduating. So how cool is that? That's our largest class ever from a TRIO academic year. So that means that there will be approximately 41 openings. So in late September, you will be hearing from Melissa Merkel and her team in regards to that they will be accepting new applications. And with the point of tonight in particular for you as faculty, you will be receiving 3 outreaches from Melissa a semester in regards to a student if they are in TRIO. And it's simply to check in, maybe one thing that's going well and one thing that could use some improvement to help them further build that student up within the TRIO program. There are, and just to keep in mind, I know they're not necessarily seeking new applications until next month or into the latter part of the fall semester. There are the students will need, it's an application process, and they do need to meet one of 3 criteria. They either need to be first generation, income eligible, or have a documented disability. So with that said, that's a little bit about TRIO. It's an amazing program. It's highly sought after. They have just awesome retention and persistent rates, north of 80%. It's a great program. Melissa is a firecracker, and she would be happy to take any questions from you. I will go to the contact page so I can introduce you to the staff. Sheila Ambergy, she is our program coordinator. We have an academic specialist on staff, Nicole Garcia. Melissa Merkel, of course, she's the director. And then the student success navigator that works one-on-one with the TRIO students for academic advising is Anthony Reyna. Okay, so now on to CSX. So the Center for Student Success houses quite a few different programs. And again, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty on each thing given time, but first and foremost, as instructors, I want to point out that part of my day-to-day duties is working with students one-on-one that have a documented disability. And I help connect them with the accommodations that they need both inside and outside the classroom. So if you have a student that comes to you and either comes forward with the information, or you think that they could use some additional resources, you can't directly ask them if they have a disability, but there's ways to tiptoe around that. And I think we all know that with some Q&A. So the bottom line is, if you remember anything from tonight in regards to students that have a documented disability or may need that extra support, to connect them with the center, and we can kind of take it from there. There is some information here on that in terms of the steps that they can follow. So if you wanted to look into that later, or if you do encounter a student, you can refer to this page for those steps. Supplemental instruction. So supplemental instruction is really big in our math and science departments. They are similar in a sense to tutoring, but with the caveat that they're actually embedded in the classroom. So they not only attend the class sessions, but then they facilitate 2 outside study sessions. So we are in between semesters. So starting next week, you'll see an updated SI schedule. You can also, if you have some rockstar students that are not only excelling in your class, but they actually like people and they like working with humans, please feel free to make those referrals to Terry Anderson. He is our supplemental support specialist, and he runs the SI program in general. And then of course, Stephen Tuckey. Oh my gosh, that's an old picture. Sorry. Oh, and it's being recorded. Nobody tell him that I said that. But Stephen Tuckey is amazing. He's our math guru. He's also the Raven Endowed Chair for Mathematics, and he helps run that program as well with us. We're a 3-man team. So that is supplemental instruction. Now, on the other side of that, we absolutely still do offer tutoring. In fact, through the pandemic and us going completely remote, I really pride our department on pivoting and going completely online and on demand to meet the needs of the students during that remote time, and we still do. In fact, the percentage of students that are seeking online on demand after hours tutoring is increasing by upwards of 40%. So we're absolutely keeping that service. So not to take away from in-person tutoring, we still are going to offer that in limited capacity in the fall, especially in the areas of science and math. But online on demand, which is led by peer tutors, is really the bigger chunk of where the peer tutoring is at right now. So this is an example. Now, of course, this is the spring schedule. It will be switched soon to reflect the fall schedule. The neat thing is students are used to something called Calendly. So Calendly is how they set up meetings with their academic advisors. And so so we reintegrated that into the tutoring piece. So if a student wanted to set up an appointment, say with Sydney for Bio 132, they would simply click on that link, and then it takes them to our Calendly page. So they can set up a small group tutoring session online, a 60-minute meeting, or even a 30-minute meeting. And then with that, it would bring up her calendar, and any day highlighted in blue would indicate that she has availability, and then the student can make the appointment at the time that they wish. So I wanted to point that out. I know I'm kind of breezing through this, but students know what Calendly is, so that's the neat thing about it. Our writing center, I really wanted to highlight that too. So as we've come back to campus, the writing center is alive and well and open, and we are ready to serve you. Like I said, I have both Kim and Pam on the call tonight. So if I forget something, please don't or Ariel, feel free to jump in and let me know where I've gone awry here. We have 4 unique individuals that work and serve in our writing center. Kim, Sandy Schultz, Virginia Imperial, and Pam Fitzgerald. They all have a unique following too, I've come to find over the years, but they're here to serve you, and they also have Calendly links as well. So you can either schedule an appointment ahead of time to meet them in person in the Center for Student Success, or they can schedule a phone or a Zoom appointment via that same Calendly link that I showed you before with the supplemental instruction. Testing lab. So testing lab is still a thing as well. Obviously, it's in a much more limited capacity with the COVID protocols as we are slowly reintegrating back to campus. There's a testing lab newsletter. Please look for that. That's coming out later this week, facilitated by Tom, and then also Karen Hector for the full-time faculty. We are, again, limited capacity. We're servicing different departments. We sent a survey out over the summer to see if we could kind of get a sense of what the needs were. So we are open by appointment for some in-person testing. But again, I don't want to mislead anyone in that it's the testing lab that some of us in the room may remember pre-COVID. So again, you will be receiving more information on that later. Okay, that was, I think, the fastest I've ever gone through the CSS and TRIO information. I will pause and ask if anyone has any questions. I know it's late. Okay, well, the
But
long
can
and
you mind
short
if
of
I
it,
jump in and add something?
yes, please do, Ariel, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. So I just wanted to hop in, everyone. Hello, my name is Ariel Maturity. If you guys don't know, I work for the Center for Student Success as a support specialist, as well as an adjunct in our allied health department. I just wanted to hop in and let you know that the Center for Student Success is doing some amazing workshops right now. We've been reaching out to instructors as well. If you have a developmental course, to try to get outreach to those students to make sure that we retain them and keep them as students. And the workshop just basically takes them through JetNet and email and JetStream and make sure they know how to use Word, how to save a document with their last name and their first name, because I know a lot of students struggle with that, or even just downloading Office. A lot of students don't know that we do offer it for free. It's part of their tuition, they paid for it. So just be on the lookout for those emails. There's plenty of dates. I'm also going to drop the link to the form. So if you want students to reach out or you're interested, you want to attend yourself, please feel free. And that's all I had to say. Thank you so much.
Ariel, that was like a 30-second elevator speech. I loved it. But kidding aside, those workshops will be completely, I'll be candid. We didn't know how much, if at all, interest we would have in those college catch-up workshops. And the response has been awesome. In fact, we've had to open up new sections because some have filled. So like Ariel said, she's going to drop the link in. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Her contact information is right here, as are all of us. Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention Linda and Tennille. They are our counterparts down at our centers. So Linda at the LISD Tech Center, and then Tennille at the Hillsdale campus. They are amazing, and they are absolute wonderful resources at the centers. So if you can't reach me or them, there's some additional resources there for you from a center perspective. Any questions now? Like I always say, going once, going twice. Okay, Tom, I'm going to circle back to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Monica. Perfect. I unmuted myself, so we're good there. Does anybody have? We're near the end of the night. Let me see if my video will work back up. Hey, we are perfect. So we are near the end of this session. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Would they like to see something else? Anything to say for the good of the order? Let's see. I don't see any. President Phelan, would you have anything that you'd like to add for tonight?
I wanted to say thank you, Tom, for a great presentation, getting all of us together and hearing the good updates from Jackson College, and to say thanks to all of our part-time faculty for their love, care, and service to our students and working with us as we launch a new semester in this COVID space, and doing so very cautiously and very safely. And thank you for your support.
Thank you. And with that, I will stop the recording, and then this will get sent out because I know we were